You are listening to The Ben Keech Show, where every day the objective is simple. Ben will never stop fighting the fight and lighting the light on topics that affect you every day.
What in the world is going on? My name is Ben Keech, and this is The Ben Keech Show. It's been too long. We have been working on things all summer. It's now toward the end of summer, technically the first day of school for some of those rascals out there, and we are ready to kick off episode 52. Let me tell you a little bit about what's going on this summer. Still working on the book. Have been traveling around doing some speaking gigs here and there. Have not been recording, but have been kind of working through some different guests that are going to be coming up. As you see, we have a couple of young guys here in the studio today. We're going to bring them in here in 1 second. But I'm glad you're here. We're going to get right at it. Let me tell you who we have sitting here in studio today. We have Bret Keech, my son Bret, and we have his buddy from high school, Jonathan Konen. And we're going to talk about everything from NBA to NFL to high school to fears and how to overcome them and where they come from a young person's standpoint, from an adult standpoint. We are going to talk about what teachers are doing right, wrong, what schools are doing right, wrong, and a few other things. So we're just going to get kind of right at it. Let's start with you, Jonathan. Why? Tell everybody who you are. Why are you here? Just tell them a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, so obviously I've known Bret for a long time, since middle school. So it's always been great to play basketball and everything with him. But I think just when I heard you were doing the show, I always thought, I think everybody kind of wants to do a podcast, or like it sounds really fun, but nobody actually goes out and does it.
Right.
And I think that's really cool and great opportunity to talk about some fun things.
So when Bret describes you, he kind of describes you as, you may not be like the typical high school kid. You kind of beat to your own drum. How is that true, false? What would you say about that?
Oh, I'd say absolutely. I think I'm definitely a little different than everybody, but
okay.
I like to kind of stay in my own lane, but also do a lot of unique things and try some different stuff.
Such as what makes you unique? What would be an example of something like? How do you feel like you might be a little bit different than the average cat? I
would say like my circle, like the people I hang out with, it's like truly is pretty tight. But then I think at the same time, I'm really cool with everybody at school and stuff. That's in the sense of just a little bit, but get along with most people. And I think I really like Olathe East, just in the sense of I feel like everybody pretty much gets along and really good student body.
And today was your first day?
Yeah.
How was that?
I really liked the classes and teachers, trying to enjoy every moment a little more this year.
Yeah.
Last go around. I feel like great opportunity I feel like in the past maybe not, you kind of dread school, but it's a good opportunity to enjoy it.
I like it. First day of senior year. And Bret, you're here. You've bounced around schools. Tell me what happened with that. Where you've been to a couple schools. What's happened there?
My freshman and sophomore year, I was at Olathe East, and then I transferred over to Shawnee Mission South. I kind of just wanted a fresh start and wanted to try something new, and it was a good experience. But I kind of felt more at home at Olathe East, and now I'm back and really excited.
How was your first day?
It was great getting to see a lot of people that I haven't seen in a while. I have a lot of friends in a lot of my classes, so yeah, it's fun.
So do you consider yourself an opinionated person? You're gonna talk about some stuff, like, is that, or you don't really know much about anything, or what would you say?
I definitely know stuff about things.
Oh, okay, that's good. They're glad out there. You know some stuff.
Yeah, I don't like to lose.
Oh man, that's okay.
So.
Yeah, that's I don't remember if I've ever lost. That's except for
against me.
No, not. We'll see. We'll see how this goes. We may or may not be on the same side on some of these things. So, guys, let's start with this. What do you, being seniors now, you guys have had a full deck of teachers. You've different schools, different experiences. Like, what do the teachers do that are like really good at their job? That you're like, you want to go to the class, you're actually learning. Like, what makes a good teacher. You can give them shout outs too if you want to as well, but let's start with that. Either way, go ahead, Jonathan. You can start.
I'd say somebody who really gets you to want to be in class, and like obviously with the phone thing that we'll touch on later, I think a class like a good teacher, you would never even want to be on your phone and things like that. I think like somebody like Mr. Isles, I think he runs kind of an unorthodox class. He doesn't necessarily give you a ton of papers or anything. And obviously the classes I took like coaching and leadership and like electives, so obviously it's not going to be a great paper workload. But I think I took more like life lessons and just stuff I'll use in his class than any other, just based on like he'll talk about real life stuff, and
right.
He does like a bunch of metaphors with sports and things like that, puts it into like ways that we see things, and I think that's a great way to look at things.
So is that what makes him unorthodox? The fact that he is able to relate things on a real level, or what makes him unorthodox?
Yeah, I'd say just like his energy, and just he really doesn't like he's willing to go outside of like the normal teacher, I guess, the way they talk about things, and he'll let the class argue and stuff. And,
okay.
And the class is also a bunch of athletes and stuff, the one I had, but
right.
like it's it's a coaching class, but yeah, I think just he, at least for like somebody like an athlete that, or people that don't necessarily want to like be hammered with work, I think he really made you enjoy things, and then even when we would do projects and stuff like that, he'd make you want to do it.
Right. Well, is there anything wrong with arguing? Seems like some people are scared of arguing. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I think like, do you remember, was it Miss Bogdan at PT?
Yeah.
She would set up these, it's a teacher we had in 8th grade for, what was it, like literacy or something?
Yeah, literacy.
We'd do like almost like political debates and stuff like that. And it was a ton of fun. I think the whole class, everybody got into it, and
right.
Even if you didn't agree, I think people really enjoyed it.
Yeah, we have a lot of teachers who are afraid. And they're either afraid because it's their personality, but they're just generally cautious, and they don't want to rock the boat. They don't want to get in trouble. They don't know how to handle it. What if people disagree? What if their opinions come out there, and they're basically living in fear? And so when you're able to put out stuff, put out topics and let people talk about it, I mean, it's just basic entertainment. I mean, think about what you guys watch on YouTube. You're in essence watching people debate and discuss all the time, or on your phones or whatever. So, Bret, what is it for you? What teacher like rings a bell, makes it something? What would that be?
I would definitely say my basketball coach and history teacher last year, Coach McFall.
Okay.
In his class, it was the first time we were like taking notes and stuff like every day, but I like enjoyed taking note. I enjoyed learning about different things because he made it fun. He made it enjoyable. He didn't like beat around the bush like some teachers. He just told us how it was, and gave us a lot of fun stories about how some things affected his life, and just like
right.
different things, and everyone was always involved. On the first day, he like told everyone he like had to hang up our phones and a thing, and everyone's like, oh my gosh, blah blah blah. But then like no one was ever, it didn't matter that we didn't have our phones, because we were just always
right.
engaged on whatever the topic was that we were learning today. And
do all the teachers are all the teachers engaging with your time? So your time, you're going to a job, it's a 50-minute class, you clock in, you clock out. The expectation when you go to a job is that you're working the entire 50 minutes. Are teachers doing that? Are you busy the entire time, or what do you say about that?
I definitely don't think we're always busy, and there could be, I think school, especially some classes, have gotten extremely like too easy. Like, it's fine sometimes, but like there's times where I'm just sitting there with nothing to do for 30 to 45 minute stretches, and
right.
it's like I'm not really getting anything out of it. So
what would you say, what class did McFall teach?
It was
U.S. history.
Yeah, U.S. history.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so what was a big like remembrance? What do you really take away from U.S. history from having McFall? I think it was all last year, right? You had
Yeah.
it for the, yeah. What was the big takeaway?
I just loved learning about the different wars and how, like, it kind of made me realize how real it was.
Yeah.
Like, I obviously always knew the big wars happened, but it kind of gave me a better understanding of what people went through and how it affected so many people's lives and how it affected people that weren't even in the war and just everything that it led to.
You said something about McFall, and I think it's a characteristic of a teacher who knows what they're doing, is that you can't operate out of fear. You have to be willing to say things. You have to be willing to actually teach. If you're doing things out of fear, you're not going to do it as good, and you're shortchanging the kids that you're teaching. Would you say that McFall was an example? He was just let it go. He was just a free teacher. Just that he gave you all that he wanted to give you. He didn't operate out of fear. Would you say that was true?
Yeah, he was never. He always gave his opinions. He wasn't scared to tell us things that like just actually happened, like some teachers would.
Right.
He just told us how it was.
How do you think? Okay, so let's move a little bit, staying kind of on senior year for a second. What do you guys think? So you have a lot of kids that are going to have a lot of experiences this year. It's your last year. You're kind of building up, but you're also getting ready to. Everybody's getting ready to end, and everybody's getting ready to begin, whatever that is. What mistakes do you guys think that some kids make in terms of their senior year's done, they're ready to like, and now what? Like, what are mistakes that some kids, you're not there yet, but can you project or think about things that kids, I mean, some of your classmates might be listening to this. So what do you think if you were to even help them? I don't know if they're going to listen or not. We'll see. But what are mistakes some of your classmates are going to make next year? Yeah. Go for it, Jonathan.
So I'd say like, and it depends on the person for sure, but I think a lot of people are going to go to college to have fun, make it the best 4 years of their life or whatever, but not necessarily worry about after that. Like for me, the next 4 years or, just the next stage of my life, I want to be preparing to make the rest of my life the best as it possibly can be. And I'm willing to sacrifice those years a little bit. And I think, like if people are going to school just to party and stuff, like I know even like class of 24 people, like I think that's what some people are doing.
Right.
Like and just going to KU or whatever. And I think a lot of people you can get a good balance too. But I think maybe some people are just not necessarily, really thinking about what they want to do after college or whatever they do next.
What would you say, Bret?
I would definitely say going into college, I mean, it's fine if you don't have a complete plan for your life, but I think you need to have some idea, not just go to college just to go. I think that is a mistake that a lot of people make, because then you're spending 4 years, and then if you don't have a plan, then those 4 years could have just been a waste, and then you didn't really learn the things you needed to learn about the things that you really enjoy and want to do with the rest of your life.
What about some of the kids that don't go to college? Why could that be a good thing? Why could that be a bad thing?
I think it can be. I think that's another thing. If you don't go to college, there's still a lot of opportunities that you can do. It's just it might be a little bit more work. It might be harder to get the job because you don't have that degree that people like to see. But I think you can still make a very good job and everything without it. And if you have a plan, you don't need to go to college if that's not what you want to do.
So if after high school people are going to go to college, not going to go to college, get training in something, why are they doing either one of you? Why are they doing that? Why are they going to college? For what? What's the reason?
For me, the reasoning to go to a big school, I don't necessarily even think the education would be at least worth the debt and things like that. I think it would be for meeting people, networking, and I think it'd be a great opportunity to do that. But I think you'd learn a lot too, and obviously get the degree. But I think if you're not going to college, there's great opportunity there as well. Not going into the debt, and then obviously having a chance to it'd be maybe
I'm gonna keep taking it down this road. So I'm gonna rephrase what you just said. So you're either gonna go to college, you're not gonna go to college. You're gonna meet people, you're gonna network, you're gonna grow you're gonna maybe get a degree, you're gonna do this. Why are you doing that?
I think for me it would be the opportunity to be able to do what I love for a living.
Okay. Now I'm gonna say, don't say for me. I'm saying now I'm gonna change your words, but for a specific reason here in a second. So okay, so you said for you, hopefully for everyone, to do something that you love to do. Okay, fair enough. Keep going. So at the end of the day, everything that you're doing is for you to do something that you want to do. Is there more than that? Is there more than that? Why are you is there something about the ultimate who is going to be thankful for whatever you decide to do? Who is going to be thankful for whatever you... So you're saying you may go to college, you're going to network, you're going to get into something that you want to do, you're going for a particular job, and that looks like Jonathan is setting up Jonathan. And I'm saying, outside of Jonathan, who is thankful for you doing what you're going to do?
Like, are you saying, like, what type of impact will I make on the world? Is that...
Not necessarily...
Expand on what you're getting. What point are you trying to make?
I'm saying, who is going to be thankful for whatever you do? So why are you you're ultimately going to college to get what? Like you get an education to get
to have an opportunity to maybe have
to get a job.
Yeah.
To get a job.
To get a job.
A job you like.
Yeah.
And what does that job pay you? It's gonna pay you money, right?
Yeah.
So money's good, right? What are you gonna do with that money?
Build a life that me and hopefully a family can...
That's the answer. Everything you're doing right now, do you think that if you have kids right now, if you have kids someday, not right now, it's your senior year.
Man, we got some people.
Sorry. Apologize to your parents now. My bad. Didn't mean to put that out there. Do you think that if you have kids someday, do you think that if you have a wife someday, that she's glad you're not smoking weed, getting drunk, and dropping out of high school?
Yeah, I was thinking of, like, I was talking to Landon the other day, and we were talking about, like, he gave me a little quote, and it was like, how would you behave today if your future son was watching you, and what would he think of his father?
That's good. Who's Landon?
You know Landon.
Landon Wadsworth, basketball.
He's one of the smartest people I've ever met.
Okay.
Yeah, he's very smart.
Yeah.
Okay, I love that. That's good. And that is so that's why all this stuff is happening. Like, ultimately, you are making decisions. They are thankful because they're going to ask you, Dad, you graduated high school, you went to college, you got this, like, what are you doing? Like, we don't get to go on vacations. We don't get to, no, you can't do this. No, we can't do this. Like, you are trying to build a life. And it's okay to say this. I'll tell you this because you're my son, and I'll say this to you too, and your parents will agree. You being a male, there's a responsibility that comes with that. It doesn't mean that, like, I'm not trying to go back to, like, Little House on the Prairie times. It doesn't mean that females can, it's not about that. You have a responsibility. And guess what? When you date women, they care about how you handle these situations. And it's not because they're gold diggers. It's because they want a provider. Who wants someone that sits around and plays video games all day? And guess what? There's people my age that are still sitting around playing video, that aren't working. They're fluffing their life around. They don't spend time. So people get messed up responsibilities sometimes. So that's where we're going. You guys did good. Okay, let me ask you this. Well, we're going to switch gears for just a second. For those of you that don't know, the NBA, the National Basketball Association, if I can say it right, has 5 players that I'm going to say these are the 5 greatest players of all time. If I were to put together a team, these 5 players would be on it, okay? And now, and I'm gonna put these 5 in order of who I think are the best 5 basketball players of all time. And you guys, we're gonna see what these basketball players over here think. So I think number 1 is going to be Michael Jordan. Number 2 is going to be Kobe Bryant.
No. You actually believe that?
This is my show. I gotta believe whatever I'm saying.
Okay.
You can't just like start making stuff up. Number 3 is Steph Curry.
No.
I mean, I could be convinced. You convince. If I'm wrong, tell me I'm wrong. Okay. Number 4 is going to be LeBron James. And number 5, I'll tell you at the end. I'm mulling through my number 5 right now. I'll know it by the end of episode 52. By the way, you guys need to make sure you subscribe on the YouTube channel, follow on TikTok. Just making sure some of you guys forgot. All right. Am I right? Jonathan, you're like disrespecting here. Like, what? I'm wrong about this? Like, what?
I like Curry being high. I think I could make a case for Curry being above Kobe. I don't mean to be a hater, but we know who the best basketball player is, LeBron James. And I think everybody knows that. They just don't. Jordan is the figure, the pretty boy.
The pretty boy? Jordan's a pretty boy. What does that even mean?
So I was arguing with my barber the other day, and he starts like screaming and stuff. Like he started putting up like Jordan posters and stuff. I think it's because of me, but because but every time he tries to argue that Jordan's better because like he sells more shoes and because more people knows who he is. But I think when it comes down to it, LeBron does more for his team than anybody else ever has.
Like losing championships, you mean? Is that what you're saying?
Against the greatest teams of all time.
I don't think the 2011 Mavs were one of the greatest teams of all time, though.
That's LeBron's worst failure. So.
No, I don't think. I think a problem with the debate between, I definitely think you have LeBron having number 4 on your list is
Generous.
Extremely disrespectful to LeBron. I think Michael Jordan is the best player ever. I think LeBron is number 2. But I think one of the problems with that debate is what you just said is, well, losing in championships. Well, he also did have. Even though I think Jordan's the GOAT, I don't think anyone.
George Hill.
Yeah, I don't think anyone put in LeBron's situations could have won a few of those championships. There was 2 different years, 2015 and 2018, where he was up against tons of Hall of Famers, and he didn't have a single other star on his team. And there's no matter, just because Jordan was 6-0 doesn't mean he would have beat one of those teams if he was in LeBron's situation.
He put up a 50-point triple-double and lost in Game 1 of 2018.
So good players just don't want to play with LeBron? Is that what it is?
Well, there's injuries, and there's people who...
Like
it's not always... like in 2015, he had Kyrie and Kevin Love on his team, but they both got hurt. So then he was pretty much out there alone.
That's right.
In 2018, Kyrie got traded the year before, so then they just didn't.
So you're arguing for LeBron now?
No, I'm just saying that a problem is saying just 6-0. I don't think that's a good argument for Jordan because he won all of his championships.
So why do you think Jordan is? His barber's going to agree. Why do you think Jordan is then the GOAT?
Because another thing with Jordan, in 13 years he won 10 scoring titles and was just by far the best player in the world, and everyone knew it. Everyone in the world knew it. It was just like he was just the most dominant figure of sports that has ever walked the earth. There was just no debate. He had 2 different three-peats. In between, he played baseball just to come back and win 3 more. He was just way better than everyone else he played against. And I just
what do you say?
don't think that can be matched.
to hit against that, I would say that his era wouldn't necessarily. I would say I would say Jordan dominated more in his era than LeBron did, but his era didn't present the same opponents that LeBron had, and I think and I would say I'm willing to even say Jordan is the not greatest but most accomplished player ever, but I just think LeBron is the best to ever I think if you're drafting a player to start your franchise and you have both of them, you're drafting LeBron.
I think with Michael Jordan, he also just he's very hard on his teammates, and that just makes everyone better around him. And I think LeBron obviously makes his teammates better too because of his facilitating. But I think the way Jordan leads is more like by example, and just he's gonna work hard. He's gonna do all those things, and if you're not willing to ride with them, then he's gonna let you know, and everyone's gonna end up following him, and that's why he was so successful.
Wasn't Kobe like that too?
Yeah.
Then Kobe kind of was a role model for LeBron, I think, in a lot of ways.
And Jordan was for Kobe. Jordan was.
Yeah. And I think when Kobe and LeBron were on the same Olympic team in 2008, that really helped LeBron.
Yeah.
Throughout his whole career because of having Kobe as kind of a mentor on that team.
See, Michael Jordan had an advantage over LeBron in this, and this is why he's so cemented in people's mind, is because he changed basketball. Curry has kind of changed Curry has changed basketball. Absolutely. LeBron very well may be, by some metrics, the best basketball player. He's still playing well at his age. He's done things that are just undeniable. But Jordan also changed the game. The above the rim style of the game, the theatrics of it, the motivate. I mean, people. Who's the most motivated person? Michael Jordan. I mean, he is just like this crazy motivated guy, and we didn't see any of that. I wonder what would be different if Michael Jordan was in the era of social media. I wonder how his or if he was playing with LeBron and they were going nose to nose in the playoffs each year. Who would actually be better? I would make the case then. I would make the case that I think Jordan shows that he's better in a one-on-one, his team versus LeBron's team in the playoffs. I think his game translates in that way more than LeBron's. I don't know. I could be wrong. I don't know.
I would disagree in the fact I think LeBron is more willing to make the right play with the game on the line. I think they'll say Jordan, and another argument I would pose is that evolution. I think the new guy's almost always going to be better just based on the era. I think like if you put this Olympic team that just won against like maybe even the Dream Team or whatever, I think just the spacing in threes. So if they played and didn't know each other's eras and just like put them out how they were, I think the current team will win by 30 just based on the spacing.
But do you think that if like let's say what year was the Dream Team? 92?
Yeah.
So if that team had the trainers, the mentality of how basketball is played now, would they be able to do all that they're maybe outside of a Curry? I mean, Curry is just, I don't know who's going to be a Curry in past generations. Bob Cousy?
Stop.
I mean, that shot. I mean, I don't know. I'm not for sure.
But yeah, that's a great point. I think they certainly could, but I just think they didn't have that. So
I think sometimes that's hard with the debate because I think progressively people do get better at basketball, but I think I kind of look at it as more who is better in their time and who. It's just different ways to look at it. I mean, like I don't know.
The game
is completely different ever since Curry came into the league and just
made the basketball besides the layup.
Yeah, and just made the 3-pointer as common as it is, and it just completely changed the game. And everyone tried to, when the Warriors were winning all those championships, started kind of leading to other teams like the Houston Rockets and some of those other teams to start just trying to do the same thing because it's a copycat league. Whoever's winning is gonna keep doing that. Even like the Celtics, who won it all this year, they shot more threes than any team in NBA history. Because that based on like they had a very analytical-minded coach, and he looked at the things as if threes are more than twos, and if we have a bunch of really good three-point shooters, and we shoot a lot, then we're gonna score more points. So they were one of the most efficient offenses ever, just by.
Can Olathe East have any three-point shooters at that school?
We sure do.
You do? Okay, that's good.
You got the franchise.
Well, we'll see. Looking forward to that. Folks, we're going to wrap up episode 52. We're actually going to do a part 2 with these guys. but we're gonna take a little breather, get organized, come back with some more thoughts. Thank you so much for watching. Again, make sure you we're gonna put on our description Bret and Jonathan's handles. These guys, you guys may want to follow these guys. I don't know. They may have some insight. I don't know. They ask them about their experiences. They've done great. We're gonna be back. Thank you so much for listening and watching. Appreciate glad to be back. And big things are coming around the corner. So we will talk soon. Thanks. Bye.
Thank you so much for listening. Let's keep the conversation going. You can reach out on Ben's website, www.benkeechshow.com, or on social media to chat. And please remember to subscribe so that you never miss an episode.